Warning: this program may contain explicit language that may be considered offensive or inappropriate to children and some adults.
The following content is intended for mature audiences only.
Hello, everybody. Quick correction. Our titles just said we had a special guest, Justin Robert Draper, but he's not our special guest host today. And that's my fault. I played the wrong video. Our special guest host is actually Adam Archer, and he's going to be leading the conversation tonight. Adam Archer is an actor with the theater, not Second City. What's the theater that you live? Is Second City? Right.
Meet yourself, Adam.
Oh,
introduce yourself, Adam.
Yeah. Oh, I'm Adam Archer, currently unemployed actor, formerly of the Second City. I'm unemployed because of COVID, not because of talent. And I'm happy to be your silver medal tonight, Durian.
Awesome. I'm glad you're here.
It's great to be here. Oh,
well,
great.
Adam is going to be hosting tonight. Ooh. He's going to be leading the conversation, so I'm just going to hand it over to him and let him take this thing on down.
Oh my gosh. Well, tonight's episode is geeking out about action movies, and we're going to do that. But before we do that, let's find out what we're geeking about this week. And as we go through, I'm going to call you out, introduce yourself. I guess that's how it works. And then talk about what you're geeking out about this week. And I know he has a list, so I'm going to start with him. Chris, what are we geeking out about this week?
Oh, hi. Hello. I am Chris Steele. I am your resident HR consultant manager and all-around nerd and musical theater nerd specifically, and X-Men stan. So we know all these things about me from past episodes, but in case this is your first time listening, that's me. So this week, or this episode, I actually do have a few things that I'm geeking out about, because it just seemed like there was a lot of good content that came out recently, or like things that I actually resonated with. One of them being The Flight Attendant. I don't know if any of you saw it. It's a HBO show
HBO Max.
Kaylee Cuoco. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Starring Kaylee Cuoco. She's even got a Golden Globe nom for her performance in this show, and I liked it. Well, I'll tell you, I loved it until the last episode. Until the last 30 minutes of the last episode.
Isn't that like the kiss of death, though, when you love a show up until the end? That's always a bad sign for me.
Sounds like Game of Thrones.
I think it's already been picked up for a second season, and I will still watch the second season because I know what they were trying to do.
So it wasn't that bad. Like, whatever you experienced wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad, and it's a show that's based on a book, and they did change the ending from the book, I guess, to throw people off that maybe had read it, so that they didn't know everything that was happening. But anyways, there's that one. Flight Attendant. Check it out. It's only 10 episodes long. Worth it. Of course, WandaVision, but I mean, that's just an ongoing.
Let's talk about WandaVision.
Oh God.
As he says that with an attitude.
No, I want to talk about WandaVision because either you're going to talk about it or I'm going to talk about it because it's on my thing too. So you can wait till it gets.
All right, well, let's go.
Okay, so I have issues with before this. I'm prefacing it with this. I only started watching WandaVision because I had to. People were spoiling it so bad on the internet. I really had planned to just watch it from beginning to end once it was out. Now, here's my issue with some people said to me, well, if I don't want to be spoiled, stay off the internet, which is, come on. And the other half of that was, if you don't want to be spoiled, watch it when it comes out. I'm like, what if I don't have money to pay for 3 months of Disney Plus? Because that's how much you're going to need. That's how long it's going to go into 3 months. What if I only have money for one? I do have money for, but that's the principle. Anyway, So because they were ruining it so much, I was like, all right, I'll watch WandaVision. Dude, WandaVision was... it made me upset that I didn't get to... Oh, we're not going to spoil it, but we're going to talk about it. We're not going to spoil it, though.
I'm not necessarily like spoilers. It's more of like, because it was spoiled for you. That's kind of the gist of it.
I think it's good to have WandaVision spoilers, because when we talk about stuff with passion, there's a chance a spoiler might slip out.
I mean, a spoiler, we're going to do our best in this conversation not to have any spoilers, especially not any big plot spoilers, but like, if you're not already spoiled, cool. If you're up to it, you're up to it. So let's start with, everybody was, hey Mo, we see you. Mo's the honorary panelist tonight. Mo has been asked to be on the show, and we're going to get Mo on the show. But so the first 2 episodes, everybody's like, oh my God, why is WandaVision so boring and so slow? I was laughing my ass off.
Those were my favorite 2 episodes, I think. I
loved
loved those episodes.
They're not my favorite 2 episodes, but I definitely thoroughly enjoyed them.
I enjoyed it too. Like I've said it before, like I'm one of those people, like I have no clue what's supposed to be happening, what's going on, but like I really enjoyed like a throwback to the Dick Van Dyke show type of feel.
It gave me very Leave It to Beaver too.
Right, like I enjoyed that, and you see like little snippets of things like, okay, something's gonna happen here, but like right now I'm enjoying the sitcom flow. Mm-hmm.
I really love that they did a TV show, because now you can really like build up to whatever you're building up to. To hop ahead, my favorite thing so far is Monica Rambeau. Yes. Now you know me, I love a good black superheroine, and her character. This is not really a spoiler because it's in the comics. Her character becomes like one of the most powerful beings in the universe. One of the most, not the most, but one, she's up there. And you can tell that they're really making like a lane for her, because they're making her character like incredibly likable, but still a badass. And, and you also sympathize with her because, she doesn't have her mother. Like her introduction, like waking up after the snap, that was so like, I was like, but yeah, I'm really interested in the comic book. She gets her powers from being exposed to like some sort of radiation or whatever. I'm really interested to see radiation. Yeah, I'm really interested to see how they introduce her powers. And then I really like the characters that they picked to be in it. Now, if you know any comic books, some of the characters are really obvious who they are, because like in the Wanda world, people are like not who they are, but they are kind of who they are. Like they signify who they are. Her best friend, if you watch the comics, if you know anything about the comics, you know exactly who that is. And in this latest episode, they don't really make any qualms about it, because they make everybody like kind of dress up as exactly who they are in the real world. I think it's a great show. I really stress, don't spoil it for these people. Like if somebody continued watching right now, all right, you knew you were going to get possible spoilers, but don't spoil for people who like are scrolling through the freaking Facebook feed.
You did a great job of not spoiling anything, Duryea. I gotta say, I feel like a lot of times people say, well, in the...
Is he breaking up for everybody or just me?
Okay,
for 30,
for everyone.
Hey, Adam, you're breaking up real bad. And I don't know why. That's a beautiful face, too, that you got frozen on. You got frozen on this face. Yeah,
I'm going to talk like this from now on, just in case I freeze.
I think you're good for right now, though. You're good for right now.
All right. I got to say, I'm not at my apartment. I'm at my parents' condo. So the Wi-Fi is just enough to make the elderly happy. So
that's what I was gonna say. Like those are 2 oxymorons. Like condo, okay. Internet, parents,
the internet
is like,
okay. Yeah. But I think you did a great job of not spoiling. And a lot of people haven't read the WandaVision comics, but maybe they'll start now. Maybe they'll catch up and catch all that juicy little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Chris, what else are you geeking about?
Yeah, I feel like Duryea just made that a Duryea's rant in the middle of my geeking out. That's okay.
I really did. I'm so sorry. Look, I'm so sorry. We'll talk about it some more when it gets to me.
Yeah.
The Brittany documentary, guys.
Oh, guys.
I can't watch
not ready.
Like
I didn't see it.
I can't watch stuff like that.
I haven't seen it yet.
I'm not ready yet.
I won't give away anything, and I'm not even like that impressed with the documentary itself, because it really didn't cover anything new or anything that everybody hasn't already been saying. about Brittany. If you know anything about Brittany for like the past year, like this is that. But like they go into a little bit more detail. But what I really like about it is that, you know, people are talking about Brittany again because I love her.
From Brittany. Somebody say that.
I mean, we've all, if you haven't been paying attention, we've all been dogging Justin Timberlake out for a few years now.
Yeah, honestly.
Listen.
This is some nice little
between Brittany and Janet. Like it had to happen. He's got to get it.
Listen, because he was talking about Britney Spears, but I'll wait. Because anyway, we're gonna talk about this today, but we're definitely gonna talk about this on Thursday. Because I have some freaking opinions about Justin Timberlake and everything that I just experienced involving Justin Timberlake this week.
His apologies seem vague.
Justin Timberfake's publicist gave a great apology. Okay, Mo, I was about to drag you, Mo, when I read that. I read that wrong, but I agree with that comment.
No, it's true. It is well, I'm sorry, it's just all too little too late anyway. It's like, now you only want to say something now. Why? Because everyone's fucking ragging you for you know, having dated.
The thing is though, we've been ragging him for a minute.
But exactly.
But the truth is, like, even Janet Jackson was like, you don't do your friends like that. When Janet Jackson cut you off, the one person who I can say has literally never had beef with nobody ever in the industry, there's a problem.
Nothing to nobody.
Demita Joe don't mess with nobody.
Nobody. She really don't.
Guys, I gotta hear me.
Pretty much.
She's like the sweetest, mousiest person alive. How do you have beef with Janet Jackson? You did something wrong.
Know.
I'm sorry.
Right. You did something wrong.
You did something wrong. That's all.
You did it.
That's all I know.
And then the last thing that I'm going to talk about.
Well, let's move on to the person. I mean, you got one more. I'm sorry, Chris.
Oh. I'm sorry. All right, I'll make it quick because really it's not like a whole thing, but like there is a new musical that came out that is really, really terrible. But I am absolutely obsessed with these two songs from it. It's actually a musical that's been in the works for. I mean, literally, I remember hearing a song from it in college. And it just came out this year. Like, these people have been working on it that long. I think since they said they were working out since they met in like 2005, and it's that bad. Like, it's really so bad. But two songs are just like everything, and that's all I've listened to for the past like week. If I'm in my car, that's what I'm listening to.
What's the musical?
What's the musical?
The musical? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess I should tell you what the musical is, in case you want to go hear how bad it is. It's called The Mad Ones.
The Mad Ones.
And The Mad Ones. There have been several, like, you know, Broadway celebrities that have done songs. Right, and it wasn't originally named that. It was originally named The Unauthorized Biography of Sarah Brown. But they changed it to The Mad Ones. Anyways. There have been some like Broadway celebrities that have done like songs on YouTube and recordings of like songs from the show, and so like it's kind of had like a following for a while, and I just don't understand why it's so bad, but it's horrible. But these two songs, it's the song "Freedom," love that one, and "Go Tonight."
So, are you saying what's horrible is like the production, I suppose, but the music is good? Is that what you're saying?
No, other than these two songs, the music really isn't that good. I mean, there are some like good moments in other songs, but it's just so
otherwise all around
trite.
Terrible. Okay.
It just seems so trite and like.
What a nice word.
And like it's trying too hard to not try hard. Like the whole set is like very minimalist and like that. It's very.
It's very The Room. You guys ever seen that?
It's very, like it wants to be a teenage musical, like, but also like maybe a college, musical. But then it wants to have like more mature music. I don't know. It
doesn't know what it wants to be.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
That's what it sounds like.
Okay.
Well, that can be a hard thing for any musical. Julian, you were talking about The Room. I don't think that's what you're geeking out about, but what are you geeking out about?
Segue. Professional segue.
Exactly.
He's a little too professional for us. Like, look, he's on task. He's keeping everybody focused. I don't know who's this guy.
I not expected that at all. But okay, I will
be bringing anybody on the show, Durian.
I mean, look, I forgot to tell him we're supposed to be unprofessional around here.
And chaotic.
And chaotic. I don't know why I forgot to tell him.
That's a good note. That's a good note. I'm going to take that one.
Always chaotic and unprofessional. Okay. But,
Always.
But as far as geeking out, what have I been geeking out about? Okay, so actually one that we've all kind of already spoken about a few times, but I haven't quite gotten to. So I just finished the new season of Charmed. That came out like maybe 2 months ago, something like that.
Wait, new season?
The second season came out like 2-3 months ago? Something
the second season been out.
Year.
Yeah, last year.
3 now.
You got me nervous. I said, wait, season 3?
Okay. I thought the second season was new. Okay, maybe it said new. It said new episodes on mine because I had only seen the first
There are
season,
new episodes of Charm, but they're not. They're from this season, but the whole season. You know, I wait for the whole season.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. So okay, well, I just finished the second season of the new Charmed, and
yes,
it's amazing. Okay, so
other than the fact that it didn't finish because of COVID, how did you like it?
Oh wait, it isn't done. Well,
the second season. No, I'm not. When I say it didn't finish, like the second season of the new Charm didn't have a definite.
Oh, right.
Because of COVID.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true because I did feel like, there should be more after this. No, well, there is going to be. I'm assuming.
Yeah, season 3.
Yeah, they're gonna wait. Yeah, they're gonna just anyway, and
they got renewed for season 4 already.
Oh, holla for Badala, because it's fucking amazing though. I love it. It's really it is really good. It gains a little bit more momentum as it goes, because I remember the first time I was watching it through, the first few episodes didn't quite catch me as much as I had wanted them to, but then as I kept watching it and stuff, I was like, okay, here we are. Now I'm in love with all of this.
Is this did they recast Charmed?
They recast Charmed, yeah.
Not really. What it is, because it's not a reboot. Because a reboot would be the same thing.
It's like
it's really just they took the premise of 3 sisters who were witches and had the power of 3, and it took bits and pieces of the original and wove it into a whole different story.
Like a darker Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Kind of. It's definitely darker than the original Charm.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely darker, skin tone included.
Yeah.
And, but
little brown.
It's a little darker. It's not a lot.
The early 2000s were not a good time for that.
Yeah, but look, the thing about the original Charm that was awesome, which I'm glad they didn't try to recreate it, was those ladies, the cast. Yeah. They made that show what it was. It was their chemistry as actors, to me, what made the show like really stick. Yeah. Like they really lucked out when they had to recast someone and they actually got someone who fit that chemistry.
Right. Mm-hmm. I have a question though. From the original Charm, did they do the whole white lighter and then the consequence of having a white lighter? Was that in the original? No.
White lighters in the original Charm, they're just angels.
Yeah, I don't think they like really went into like their backstory and things like that.
No, they're just angels.
Yeah, so that was nice in this one. That I was like, okay, I don't think they did this.
Well, you have to listen. They're dealing with other people's concepts, so when you're dealing with other people's concepts, we don't want to see the same story.
Right.
It's like The Wiz only worked because it was black, right? But every other version of The Wizard of Oz can't be The Wizard of Oz because we don't want that. We've seen that. Right. We want to know something new. We want to get a variation. Right. So they were smart to do that.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, because they had a lot more of that, and like what I found funny rather was that like the source was a huge part of the original.
Huge.
It was huge. It was like it was like most of all the seasons, pretty much. And,
well, not all, but definitely the first 4.
And they like wrapped up the source in the first season in this one. Like by the middle, the first season I think it was, right?
Yeah.
Finished it by the first season of this one. And I was just like, okay. I was like, oh, they did a lot of work on the source. I remember that being like the source of all evil. So like we're talking about it in the first season, and like, oh, here we are, like the big evil and stuff, and we're gonna it's gonna be all that the way it has been, and then. It didn't, they wrapped it up in the first fucking season, and I was just like,
I agree.
Oh, okay,
but I actually agree. Now that you're saying it, because I think at the time I was like, okay, dope, the source, because my whole thought process is when they got rid of everything from the original show in the first season, the source, the elders, the white. They got rid of all of that in the first season. So now they had this room to do other stuff. But I agree now that I'm thinking about it, like they took 4 years to do that because their destiny was to defeat the source. So in order to defeat the source, they had to become powerful enough to do so. So I agree with you. It would have been more interesting to see them have to earn that win.
Yeah,
I agree.
I thought that one could have at least that overarching plot line could have went on
I
a
agree.
little bit longer.
Who were some of the actors in the new Charmed?
That you would know? Nobody.
Come on.
That I would know, still nobody.
Melanie Diaz.
All right, Melanie Diaz, get at us at the Geeking Out podcast. Talk to us.
We talking about you, girl.
Talk to us, Melanie.
Wait. I was saying
There is the girl. There's one girl from Disney Channel. Her name is.
What
is her name?
Sister,
Sarah Jeffries.
Sarah Jeffries, who's actually half black or part black.
That's the youngest sister. Yeah.
She doesn't look it, but she's definitely her dad is black. Melanie Diaz is
the middle sister.
I think she's the oldest sister. No, she is the middle sister. She's the middle sister.
No,
and then the oldest sister, her name is Madeline McClintock.
There it is.
And then the guy who plays, there's some other people I noticed from like other TV shows, like the girl who plays Cammy in the originals is a big part in the first season.
Right.
But like
I remember that.
But I don't remember her actual name. I know that's horrible. Like they actually, I'm glad that they didn't cast like well known. Leah Pipes, that's her name. I'm glad they didn't cast like a lot of names for it because I think it makes it more interesting to watch.
Yeah. Who was in the original Charmed?
Shannon Doherty, Alyssa Milano, Rose McGowan.
So they went heavy hitters in the original and went opposite in this one.
Well, honestly, this is, in my opinion, like when you look at it, even though these actors had stuff before, this is now what they're, in my opinion, mostly known for. Because like when you think about Alyssa Milano maybe not, but when you think about Rose McGowan, you think about Charmed right now. When you think about Holly Marie Combs, you think about Charmed. When you think about Shannon Doherty, you think about Charmed. Yeah. Unless you're like
90210.
90210, the Heathers. But then you have right, but I know you, but you like 75.
Yeah, I mean, we still see them there, but still, Charmed, I think, was you know, those are still, well, 90210 actually was pretty long running.
Chris looked like he gonna kick my ass for saying that later.
Out of the original cast, or maybe the new one if you're feeling it.
Hey, Destiny. Hey, Brittany. Sorry. Who
would you be? Everyone go around. Say who you would be in the new cast. Who are you most like?
Wait, who would be most like in the new cast?
Or the old one. If you feel like you're more of a Doherty.
Which of the six?
I'm gonna go last because this is my favorite show, so I'm gonna go last. I'm gonna let y'all go because I want to know what you're gonna say.
The six sisters. This one's a hard one. Okay, so I would definitely be always whoever the youngest sister was, who's always the empath. That's like that would be. I don't know why, but that would.
Well, good for you, Julian.
It never fails. It never fails. The premonition of the empath. That one, I was like, okay, that would always be me for some reason. Just I never got the physical vibe. Never got the stop time vibe. But
okay, all right, Chris.
You're on mute, sir.
You're muted.
Sorry. Okay. So I haven't seen enough of the new series. I literally have only seen like an episode and a half or 2 episodes of the new Charmed. So, but Charmed, I don't know. I mean, if you ask me, like early Charmed, it's got to be Prue, but later Charmed, it's got to be Piper because Piper became so evolved and so
she
badass.
Later Piper was definitely dope.
Yeah,
she definitely was.
Yeah.
Okay, Ricky.
All right, so I would have to say from the old Charms, I would say Piper.
I knew you were gonna say Piper. I
think we all knew.
Piper.
Well,
I knew you were gonna say
I think
Piper.
everyone respects Piper pretty solidly.
But no, Rakia is freaking like the temperament. Rakia's like Piper. She acts just like Piper. Period.
That's because it's like I feel like there were some extremes with the original 3 sisters. As far as the spectrum, I feel like definitely like Piper is definitely the middle child, but there's also that maturity with Piper of like she's kind of always been the mother type for the majority. I feel like the majority of the series she's always been somewhat of a mother type. So there's that. As far as the new one's concerned,
honestly, I think they kind of kept the spirit of that in the new ones.
No, they didn't.
I don't.
Oh my god!
Not with the middle because the middle sisters don't
The
like
girl
that.
what's her name?
Sister was
Maggie?
taking care of. It was
Melanie? I hate Melanie.
Why?
So
I love
much.
Melanie, the
She
middle
is
sister.
so annoying to me. Everything about
But there
her
we have
sucks.
it. But there we
Everything
have it.
about her sucks.
Okay,
But you
cannot
keep
stand her.
clapping for her.
They kept the spirit as in like Melanie's always the one taking care. She always took care of Maggie and the whole nine. She was kind of.
Listen,
You know what I mean?
I think I'm more of a Macy.
No, I disagree. I feel like Macy does the taking care of. Maggie does the create. Not Maggie. Melanie is so controlling that she causes conflict.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah, I think
she's so like she's the one who's like I want. She tries to play the role of I want to protect my younger sister. So in doing that, in protecting her younger sister, she goes out by herself. Because I don't want to put them in danger. Bitch, now that you went out by yourself, they have to come rescue your dumb ass. And now everybody's in more danger because now you split the team. I don't like her.
Rakia, did you have a second one?
I think I'm more of Macy from the new series. Just kind of not necessarily, she's kind of career driven, but she's also a little bit more even killed than the other two.
Okay. Now, answer me this before we go to Duryea. What are they the same characters? Is it like Rose grown up?
No. Totally different characters. Totally different universe.
Yeah,
it's not even the same.
The magic is not even the same. Well, because in the original one, I'm sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like the same universe but different people. No,
Connection here.
No,
go ahead.
It is not. In the original Charmed, the charmed ones were descended from a witch named Melinda Warren, who was
Duryea. After this rant, go into who you would be.
Okay, I will. Melinda Warren was killed at the stake, and then when she was killed, she's like, my descendants will be the strongest witches ever living. They'll be the Charmers. They'll possess the power of 3. And those 3 witches were technically the witches she prophesied were actually Paige, Piper, and Phoebe, not Prue, Piper, and Phoebe. But if you go into technically, but anyway, so there's that. And in the new Charmed, these Charmed ones are more like guardians that are born and that attain this power, but they're 3 guardians in a series of guardians because there's been other powers of 3.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So that's the difference between. So they're really not the same world at all. It's a whole different set of rules because the Charmed ones, them alone are the most powerful witches of all time. So like just them though. Anyway, my favorite from the original.
Not your favorite. Who you would be?
Who I would be?
Yes. Who do you consider yourself to
I
be
would
most
probably
like?
be Paige because of my mouth, for one.
Hold on, Duryea. Rakia, do you agree with that?
I didn't say anything.
No, I know you didn't.
Yes.
But I want to hold him accountable for his choice. He can't just be like, "This is my favorite, therefore I am her." I wanted to make sure, like, you think.
She definitely is my favorite, but also like when I really think about attitude, like Paige was always a buck. She was always ready for a fight. She had to dive into witchcraft, so she became powerful like really fast. Mm-hmm. But then her powers had so many uses. Like she wasn't really destructive with her magic. She was crafty with her magic. And then later she could develop the ability to heal. And I do that through making people laugh. So I feel like I would be Paige. I would be Paige. Plus, Paige always was like, she was always the like, you're not going to put me in a box. You're not going to put me in a box. Even her as an actress, like the producers are like, one rule, you can't dye your hair. Second season, she dyed her hair. Then dyed it red.
Right.
Like
orange.
Blood red. Like, she's like, oh, I can't dye my hair. I'll show you, motherfucker. And then they were like, what are we going to do? She's like, it's a show about magic. Just say that I freaking blew a potion in my face.
Yeah.
No, but that's what I always thought. I was like, why couldn't Paige just have dyed her hair? Like,
right.
I don't think that's a plot. That needs to be a plot line. Like, Paige was like...
The amount of times that Alyssa Milano chopped her hair.
Oh, my God. Right. The Paige... But in the newer one...
Yo, they change hair, they change makeup, they change everything like
that was their thing. In the old Charm, it was all about every episode. Like I can literally look at what they're wearing in the episode and be like, this is the episode where they, and then tell you what happens just by what they're wearing. But in the newer one, I would definitely my favorite is Macy. And I would want to say I'd be Macy. I'd be Macy when she gets all demony and mad. But that's not the sister that I'm probably most like. I'm probably most like Maggie.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I'd be Alyssa Milano.
Why?
Julian,
Let's hold you accountable. Why?
Because she's the only one I've heard of.
She's the only name that you said that I know.
Nothing about the character. I know nothing about the character. Just
I'm not a fan of Shannon Doherty's work, and Rose McGowan, no. I respect her more than I know her work. Because she called motherfuckers on the red carpet. So Jillian, did you have anything else to?
Yes, that I'm geeking out about. Okay, there is one more thing. I have been also binge watching the fucking Magic School Bus.
The newest one.
First of all, no, I watched all 4 seasons of the original, and then cool. I have begun the new one, which is just as fucking amazing. So let's roll back.
Magic School Bus.
Yeah, first roll back to the original. Let's roll back to the Kate McKinnon. Yes. So let's roll back to the first one really fast because I forgot just how much the Magic School Bus kind of contributed to who I am as a person today. And the science, we were talking about geeking out and stuff, like the sciencey nerd that I am, like it's definitely because of the fucking Magic School Bus. Like as I was watching that, I was like, oh my god, I live for every one of these motherfucking episodes. Period. Like I can't believe this is how, like I forgot that that I'm like at least 3 or 4 of those characters like in a day. So whatever. It's amazing. So then the revamp of it, I was almost a little bit, I was worried at first, rather, just because like Netflix, the way that they do things, you give you like 2 seasons and maybe you'll get a 3rd or a 4th, depends on how good it is. So the first season was very much a lot of like revamps of the old episodes of some of like the major ones of the original, so they kind of redid those with like today's science on it and stuff, so it was pretty cool and stuff. But I was like, but they're the same concepts. I was like, give me a few of the new ones. So they did throw a few new ones in there, but there was a lot of the older ones as well. But by the second season, they've definitely like gotten into like a lot of different science concepts, like that have definitely blown up since the 90s, since the 2000s, whatever the hell that came out originally. But the last one came out 2 years ago, I think, 2018. It's got so what's her face? Okay, original Miss Frizzle, what is her name?
Lily Tomlin.
Frizzle.
Lily Tomlin. So she still plays Miss Frizzle. She's like Professor Frizzle now, and then like her sister is like the new Miss Frizzle, the teacher that you see all the time. And that's Kate McKinnon. She fucking kills it the whole time. But at the end, of the originals, where they'd always go to the producer, and then the producer would kind of explain them the scientific concept like in depth without like the child play on it. Now instead, Lily Tomlin does that instead of like the producers, I guess. So it was nice. It was cool the way they kind of keep the same format and stuff, and they still kind of get like coin back to the original. But it's amazing. I fucking love the Magic School Bus. I'm sorry. I don't know how. Yeah, it's like one of the best shows ever. And I'm like, I'm not. A lot of people clearly have grown up not watching the Magic School Bus, and it shows. I'm sorry. There would not be a flat earther. There would not be a climate change.
Listen, after this year we've had, Julian, yes, there would. There would be some idiot out there. It doesn't matter.
All I'm saying is that all these people need a little bit of Magic School Bus in their lives.
I get what you're saying, but I firmly believe that after this year, especially what after having this week, that there are people in the world who you literally could like show them the universe. You literally could show it to them, and they'd be like, "That's fake."
Yeah.
You could take them to Mars and let them eat Martian food, and they'd be like, you hallucinated me. Yeah. I don't know how you did it."
Yeah. No, I agree.
I think you're muted, Adam.
I agree.
That's fake is like the new calm down. Like you can just say anything. That's fake. Here's this thing I researched and did thousands of hours of research on. You fake. That's fake. Where'd you get your resources? Those are fake.
You know where they came from, though.
Sources, and I found that on YouTube video.
I will say though that there are a lot of sources that are not reliable these days.
Wikipedia.
Here's the thing about it. Like I'm saying, here's the thing about it. The term "not reliable," like nobody's reliable, really.
Brother, they're
let's be clear. Like, if that's the case, because I mean, just because a site isn't freaking seeing a certain site doesn't mean that they're not credible, or just because they might be biased. It just because this is how, like, people need to be taught how to receive information too, not just how to criticize it. Like when you receive information, you need to be aware that it is flawed. It is all flawed. Like, because nobody, the only way, if God, in whatever form God is, told you something directly, it's probably the only way you could just not argue it. Otherwise, it's coming through a source that is limited in their knowledge. Even an expert doesn't know literally everything. So, I mean, if an expert's telling you something, I'm not saying the question, I'm saying, remember, they're an expert, but they're still a human being. Right. So, take it for what it's worth, because experts at one time thought the earth was flat. Mm-hmm. So
you have to remember that, like, our textbooks that are constantly published every year are constantly changing.
That's why you just have to always, you have to look for other sources. Is the point. Whenever you read any one thing, and any piece of fact, like, you have to delve into it. You're gonna get different viewpoints. You have to look for different viewpoints as well.
But even like with a lot of like research, like that's published, like at least it's usually at least like peer reviewed. So like it's
right.
A lot of the stuff is not just like just thrown out into the wind.
There's a lot of room for misconstruing a lot of things these days. So for example, like I had one time had gotten into it with somebody, and they decided they were going to give me their facts. So I was like, okay, I'm going to actually look through your links and go through them. So like for example, one of the statements was following the reopening, the unemployment has gone up like more than like 85% or some I don't know. The numbers were like stupid. It was stupid because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, of course the numbers are going to be up compared to before when you have a whole shutdown. Like the whole country was literally shut down. So of course, like, it sounds nice, but you're giving me fluff. You get me? You're not giving me you're not giving me real facts. Meanwhile, it comes with its own article and its own citation and the whole nine. So I'm just like, I'm like, you have to realize exactly what it is that you're reading here. You have to still go through it. You have to still fact check yourself. You still have to look for other sources. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, rarely is anything.
But a lot of sometimes when they're biased, they kind of come with their own already biased sources. Is my point.
Also, rarely is anything the final piece of information on something, right? You should always be willing to hear a second piece.
Oh, absolutely.
Because everything's evolving, just like this podcast. Julian, do you have anything else you're geeking out about?
I don't. I don't think so. Actually, okay. I have one last one, and I just started The Magicians. The new movie came out.
Sexy Harry Potter.
Yes, definitely, absolutely. There's sex everywhere, sex and drugs everywhere. It's amazing.
Really?
Whatever. Yeah, it's very.
I love this show.
Oh, you've seen this
really?
one time.
Wait, you watched?
I have. I've read the books too.
Oh, nice. Okay, so wait, all right, so.
But you haven't seen Charmed. Get the fuck out.
No, Charm's not a book.
Actually, there's several Charmed books.
Well, give me a link to your fan fiction.
Oh, it's not. Don't try me. Don't try me. But no, I'm saying there actually are Charmed books.
No, I think I was gonna comment at the end of all of this that you all, as a group or individually, Durian, could write fantastic fan fiction about this. Mm-hmm. About Charmed. Should you choose to use your talents that way?
Oh, we've already talked about fan fiction
episode where I said I hate fan fiction. Absolutely despise it.
Oh, do you really?
Hate it.
What about the erotic kind?
Okay.
I hate that. Well, I don't like erotic fan fiction, but I do like a good themed porno. Okay. Batman versus Superman. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. So yay.
What's that line he says to him?
Batman XXX Superman.
Do you bleed?
Oh my god.
I thought it was a theme from the movie. It's a very popular line from the movie. We don't know what the context is in the pornography. I want to find out.
I don't know yet, but I definitely want to find out.
Oh my god.
The Magicians.
We just lost.
Yes. It's amazing though. Okay, so
I
I've only
didn't know there
maybe
was
5 episodes in, but it's getting really good. I mean, if you know where it left off at this point, you kind of know it's getting really good. It's also really sad in its own way, but it's making its way. So breaking into it. It's unfolding very well. But I've always loved that one because there's a lot of, there's sex, there's drugs, there's magic. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Sex and drugs and magic.
A few of my favorite things.
Sex and drugs and magic.
I'm saying a few of my favorite things. Sex,
That's a
drugs,
song right there.
magic. And Rakia talking about what she's geeking out about. What are you geeking out about?
Ooh, okay. So first, I am geeking out about this 12 color eyeshadow palette one of my students gave me for Valentine's Day.
Yes, bitch. What does it look like?
I feel like when you give a woman makeup as a gift, do they perceive that as a read?
No.
Okay.
He's 5, y'all. He's 5.
I told you, kids are mean.
They are shady.
Kids are shady as hell. He probably said something to his mom, and she said, "We gonna get her some makeup."
No, that's the thing. Like, no, it was so weird because I didn't expect him to give me anything. I'm like, I wasn't really expecting anything, but like, he gave it to me, and I looked through it, and like, it was some other stuff in there.
Where is it? You have to.
That means I gotta get up and go get it.
Here's the makeup.
Don't worry about it.
We have these colors.
I'll show it later. But anyways,
welcome to my channel.
Because he's usually like the first one in the classroom, and I messaged mom, I was like, "Hey, thanks for the Valentine," and she was like, "Oh, you're welcome. I hope you enjoy it." He picked out every single gift that was in the bag, so he personally picked out this palette for me. So either he's telling me I need to step up my game with my makeup. He's like, I know we were wearing masks, but there's no reason for you to not have, like, this up here.
I
That's what he's telling me.
It sounded more and more like a read. Right.
Right, like, so, like, the mask up, like, you can still do something, ma'am. Okay, girl.
Let's get it
you
together.
cute, like cute. But, yes.
Have you experimented with the colors?
Yes, I wore some today. Like, it was some colors, like, there's a lot of new colors that I like to wear, so yes, I fully enjoy it.
Good gift.
Overall it's a good gift, shade or not, I'm gonna still use it.
It's very shade and the gift.
Get it?
It
Shades
is.
Or not?
Look,
that's why I can't be a teacher, Ricky. That's why, because let me tell you what, if I was a teacher and the little boy gave me some makeup, I literally look at him like, is this a shade? Are you shading me? Call your mama. Call your mama.
My favorite thing about it is my favorite thing about it is this little boy like rarely talks at all, but he has something to say. he has something to say about that. So that was funny and cute, but whatever. It's free makeup. I'm gonna take it, and it's nice too.
You might be a little mo.
Did he go to like?
You just need someone to talk to.
What's that? Sephora? Did he go to Sephora to get it?
I doubt that, but I'm not going to.
The whole piggy bank be cleared out.
Pretty expensive.
Whole piggy bank be gone.
Look, because that's been the only thing I got. I wouldn't have got a piece of chocolate or nothing if that were the case. It was 12 colors, so like, okay.
That's
you're right. So I've also been watching. I've been going back and forth between X-Men Evolution and Young Justice. So like X-Men Evolution's on Disney Plus, and that's all the Marvel stuff. And then Young Justice is on HBO Max because they have all of DC things on there. And like, I'm trying to decide which one I like more, honestly. I think I'm liking Young Justice more right now. Just because like it kind of gives you a little bit more background information on some of the Titans characters or the Titans group.
Love the Titans.
Yes. So just it's pretty good stuff. But like in X-Men Evolution, like it goes into Wanda and being the daughter of Magneto, and it brings in Pietro and all that stuff. So like I don't know, like these
X-Men Evolution is probably the best iteration of anything X-Men that's ever been produced.
Like I'm enjoying that part of it because
Period.
Because it does like it goes into those a lot. You see a lot more of the different X-Men characters.
Yeah.
And it's still balanced. Like you don't and they make every character a badass. Like they don't shy away from one character's badassery to make other. No, everybody.
It's not all about Wolverine.
It's not all about Wolverine.
Finally, it's not all about
Wolverine. Wolverine is barely in it.
In it.
He's barely
there,
in
but
it.
he's not important.
It's definitely not X-Men and Friends. I mean, Wolverine and Friends.
Wolverine and Friends, no. Rogue is way more important.
Did you watch the animated Teen Titans Go?
No, I watched like an episode of it.
The movie.
Oh.
So I haven't. I started I watched the original cartoon Teen Titans, and then somewhat I lost track of it.
Yeah.
And the Teen Titans Go.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like either way, they're definitely written more for adults than they are for kids.
Yeah.
Especially Teen Titans Go, like, yes, it has, like, some of the Creed jokes in it, but those are really more for adults than anybody else. Yeah. But I haven't really had a chance to watch the movie yet. I need to watch the movie.
I watched it on a plane once. Laughed my ass off. Thought it was great.
It was good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Magic. Oh, yes, new Magic School Bus is fucking hilarious. By the way, like, I'm out here like laughing to myself, and I'm like, bitch, what?
He really trying to sell this Magic School Bus. Ain't nobody watching a Magic School Bus.
It is good, Durian.
Ain't nobody watching a Magic School Bus.
Maybe you don't watch a Magic School Bus. We can plant some more trees.
I was watching some videos, some clips of us on the show. Me and Chris Loki have beef on this show. I didn't realize it, so I was editing. I was editing back some old videos, and I said, "Whoa, me and Chris always going at it about something on the low." So I just realized we got show beef.
You do.
Our friendship's always been contentious, so.
And then, of course, like I've been watching WandaVision and like getting my life every week, and like I said, like I have no clue what's going on. Anything that good for you. Hush.
I'm about to tell it.
Look, and that's fun because I like listening to all the theories. I like going back and like researching about the different characters and the backstories and like the different iterations of those characters. So like I enjoy that. So like while I'm watching the show and I'm seeing like what they're pulling from the comics into the show to kind of bring it to life, but like
it's almost mirror. I'm gonna wait. I'm
okay,
sorry.
Just hold on.
I'm sorry.
Right, do that, please. Hold. But like I like that, and like I know it was kind of a slow burn the first couple episodes, but that didn't bother me. Like I was still digging it. I liked it. I enjoyed those episodes, and I really enjoyed this last one too. So yeah.
Oh, the end when the whole thing. Oh, okay.
Yes. I'm, and I'm not necessarily like crazy about Falcon and
Winter Soldier.
Yeah, but that commercial looks epic.
Yeah, I mean, it looks cool. Like, I'm gonna watch it. I'm just not like.
I heard somebody was hating on it today. Somebody on my feet was hating on it. You're always hating on something, though. He always hating on something. Goddamn.
Look, you know what? It's whatever. Like, they're not my favorite characters, but I'm gonna watch it because I need it for content.
I love Falcon. That's what I think. I was like, Falcon to me is one of the best characters. Let me tell you, the best ones are always the ones that aren't interesting. Why? Because they're just so great. Look, they're just so great. They're not interesting because they don't really have no beef going on. Like, I think they killed off Black Widow because she didn't have any like conflict. They thought that she was the easiest one to get rid of because there was not. But that's why she's my favorite. Like, she gets in there, she kicks people's asses, and then she's chill.
I'll definitely watch her movie. I think that's coming out in May.
Yeah, right? I'll watch it, but it's hard watching movies like that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I mean, first of all, it's in the past. It's in the past, so during no point in the movie am I ever going to be afraid that she's going to die. Not once.
Right.
Like, not even a little bit. So
unless there's something's coming up within like these TV series that they're doing or whatever other movies that they might let you know other. But
the thing about Marvel, Rakia, is they do a lot of mantle passing in Marvel. Mm-hmm. Like, a character they kind of like Robin isn't Dick Grayson, and he's also Jason Todd, and also what's this dude's name? Dimitri, whatever. Yeah. It's the same thing. So there's multiple Captain Marvels, there's multiple freaking Captain Americas, there's multiple Iron Mans, and there's multiple Black Widows. So this movie is probably just going to introduce whoever is going to replace Scarlett Johansson.
Okay. Well, I'm down with that, though.
Don't worry, because Scarlett Johansson is probably going to be trying to be Storm for the new one.
Girl,
shut up.
If we know anything about Scarlett Johansson,
you better let her be a tree or a book or whatever she wants to be.
She'll be out here auditioning for Storm, so
she's already got her tape ready.
She had to leave one
mantle so
she could pick up another one. Obviously,
we joke, but
we wouldn't be surprised. There was a billboard in Chicago. Y'all remember Aloha?
Mm-hmm.
Where she played like a Hawaiian.
Oh God!
That wasn't her, was it? That was what's her name?
Well, that was Emma Stone.
Emma Stone.
That's what it is. Anyway, another redheaded white woman.
White people do come from Hawaii now, just like white people come from South Africa. Charlize Theron.
Sure.
Yes.
I think this specific heritage within the film was commented upon as
being Samoan.
Yes, Pacific Islander.
Yes.
But there's this great billboard in Chicago that stood up years after it was out of the theaters. And they were going to take it down, but then there was a GoFundMe to raise enough money to continue to rent the billboard to keep it up. It was great. Anyway,
people are weird. Sorry. Okay, really fast. Keeping on the X-Men thing. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Oh yeah.
Yesterday, what?
The fuck does that have to do with X-Men?
Anyway, okay.
Right.
only because I'm looking at this thing and it's
I'm so sick of Valentine's Day.
It's a picture of Cyclops, right? And he's like shooting his beams out, and it says roses are red, violets are red, everything is red. I need those Cyclops. It's true. I was like, oh, his eyes, everything.
There was one where like it was like Vision, and clearly it was like a scene from WandaVision, and something about the love is like taking over my body or something like that. It was. You have to see the show.
They're cute though. Some of them are funny.
Rakia, are you geeking out about anything else?
Am I geeking out about anything else? I think that's it. That's it. Yeah.
All right. Well, roses are red, violets are blue, and now Durian, it's over to you.
You were too good at this. Come on.
So first of all, let's start off by saying I thought I wanted to be in a relationship so bad before yesterday.
Oh.
Like now I realize, like literally all day yesterday and today, every time I seen a picture, a couple, a video, I'm just getting progressively more upset.
Turned on.
Not turned on.
Oh.
Like I might be totally celibate after tomorrow. I don't know, because it's going bad. I'm just like, if I see a couple I'm so glad we're in quarantine, so I don't have to in person encounter a couple, because I want to fight.
Wait,
every time I see it.
Why do you want to fight? Because you want to. Oh, is that why?
Are you patronizing me right now?
No, I'm not. I'm asking.
Are you patronizing me right now?
No, I'm really asking. Is that why? Because I only asked because there was a time probably before in my life where if I saw a couple, I would have the same reaction, but not because I was like, oh, I'm lonely, I want to be them. No, it was like, oh God, you guys are, get out of here.
I actually don't know what it is, because it wasn't because, I mean, I definitely wanted a relationship, but I guess to me, like, I don't know. It just I'm mad. It makes me mad. It was crazy. It's like, I'm not kidding. That was funny. It's like, it really was like, I realized today, I was like, why do I keep getting mad at these videos and these pictures? Like at first I was like liking everybody's stuff. And then like as the day went on, I said, man, fuck each and every one of y'all. Like, and I don't even know. I can't even explain to you why. It's just, it happened progressively. So I'm just like, at this point, I'm like, ugh. But okay. So what I'm geeking out about, okay, I'm gonna start talking about some things that we've already talked about and touch on some small things. Then we'll talk about the big thing that we want to have a conversation about. So first, I'm geeking out about WandaVision. I'm geeking out about WandaVision because it's awesome. My theories, okay, if my theory is Wanda in the comic is always being manipulated by someone because her powers are unstable because she's generally mentally unstable. When she's not mentally unstable, she's a pretty cool chick when she's in control. But when she's not stable, things go horribly wrong because she can alter reality. Right. And the scale upon which she can alter reality is not limitless, but limitless. So she can literally change the entire reality of you thought at the end of last episode was something. That's crickets. That's nuggets of what. Not even nuggets, that's grains of sand compared to what she can do. Like we thought that little bit was a lot. She could have made that everywhere. Easily. So that's why when Monica was like, look, if she wanted to, she just wants this little town, so I don't think this is like a terrorist attack.
Y'all just
if she wanted it to be a terrorist attack, bro, I'm pretty sure it would be a terrorist attack and y'all wouldn't be able to do nothing. But anyway, and I like she gave my favorite moment was when she did when she was walking back into the bubble, she did and everybody's gonna say I was like, that was her letting you know. She was letting you know, look, that's all it took. A flick of my wrist, and that would have been it for you, bro. So leave me alone.
Flick of the wrist.
Right. So I'm really into her character because she's my new favorite character now that Scarlett's gone. My favorite characters were Gamora and Black Widow. Black Widow's gone, so that sucks. Gamora is, I don't know what they're gonna do with her, but I still like her a lot. And then so now it's Gamora and Black Widow, and now it's Monica Rambeau. I love her a lot. But I'm geeking out about WandaVision. I wish I could have just watched it all in one sitting, but the next 3 episodes are all going to be an hour long. So that's interesting.
That
all right. So, Thor, Love and Thunder. Is it Love and Thunder? Whatever. The new Thor movie is filming. Now, the interesting thing about it is everybody knows that the whole Marvel thing is it's a trilogy and then you're done. A trilogy and then you're done, right? Everyone gets a trilogy and then you're done. But this is the 4th Thor movie. So it's like, what the fuck? Now, we talked about mantles. They're passing the mantle of Thor. So Thor won't be Thor anymore after this movie. In theory. The mantle's going to pass to Jane, his girlfriend, right?
Right.
And so I'm assuming that this movie's about that. However, they have said that there's an actor who's on the set who has been cast in a cameo role. Meaning, cameo just means they'll appear and then maybe a scene or 2. The actor is Anna Diop.
From Charmed?
Starfire?
No, not from Charmed. Anna Diop plays Starfire. She plays Starfire on Titans.
Oh, yeah, she's great.
Now, if you know anything about Anna Diop, you know that she's a black woman.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's a black woman in a movie about thunder in a cameo. I wonder who she's going to play. Ooh. So the theories that are circling the internet is that she's going to play our favorite Wind Rider. But
Avatar.
Yes, but we don't want to get our hopes up but I will just say this. I absolutely approve. If that's where we're going with that, I would have, first of all, I like her. I like her work. She's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. She's nice, rich, just beautiful, just silky skin. You know what I'm saying? And I think she has that power that character would need without having to be mute like they usually make her in the other movies. So I'm excited about that. All right. Mm-hmm. Cinderella just got out on Disney. Now everybody was like wondering why it wasn't on Disney Plus sooner. My assumption is that because Disney doesn't own the rights to that music. It owns the rights to the movie. But Rodgers and Hammerstein own the rights to the music, which is why it's being billed as Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella.
Yes.
And I'm guessing there was some sort of, I'm guessing they worked it out and everybody was like, let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
So that's a bonus. Temptation Island is coming back to USA. Now, this is my thing about Temptation Island. Okay. The reason I'm talking about this is because of this. Who doesn't know what Temptation Island is?
I've never.
I know the concept, and even if I didn't, I would understand by the title what it is.
I know.
Temptation Island is this show where 4 couples go to this island, and while they're on the island, they get split up. Guys in one bin, girls in another bin, and then they bring in 24.
And don't just sugarcoat it. They're like incredibly.
I'm finishing. I'm telling you, I'm not done. Okay. So then they bring in 24 single men and 24 single women and put them in the cabins with these 4 couples, right? Mm-hmm. But these are like the hottest, sexiest, fattest of asses and titties and pecs, and these are people who. The couples themselves are incredibly attractive, but these people are even more attractive than them, and everybody wants to get with them, right? And so the goal is to see if your relationship will last through that. Now, here's my thing about that. First of all, I don't think I would ever go on that show, but if I was to go on that show, because the couples are all thinking like, this is our way to test our relationship and see if we can actually have like a long-lasting relationship. Okay, I'll buy it, right? I'll buy it. I'm dating. Me and Ricky are dating. We're like, we want to see if this is going to work out, right?
No.
When we go to this is how I'm doing. Like, but if I'm gonna do something like that, we're gonna do it. Like, because what happens is they show videos of the other one, and like the girlfriend's boyfriend will kiss a girl, and they get so mad. I'm like, bitch, what? You know where you at? You came to this show, like you knew that it was some kiss was gonna happen. So when some fucking happens, they be all surprised. You knew where you was at. So if I went to a show like that, I'd be like, look, you go in there and you do what you need to do, because I want you to know for certain that you want to be with me if I'm going to go through that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to tell them, I'm like, if you go in there and you want to get you a little piece, go ahead and get you a little piece. I'm going to give me some pieces too. And then we'll see where the pieces fall. How about that?
Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Pieces for all.
But
Duryea, you should, if you're opposed to relationships, you should get in a relationship just to go on this show. That would be
but no,
the main character. They would love that shit.
They probably would. But this is the thing, I'm not opposed to relationships. I'm just kind of grossed out by them after. I guess to me, like, it's been a long time since I've been home during Valentine's Day. And the last time I dated somebody, we didn't have a Valentine's Day. So I've only ever experienced Valentine's Day with one of my boyfriends. Ever. And so maybe that's what it is. I don't know what it's and he wasn't affectionate like that. So maybe that's what it is that I've never experienced it. But like seeing people, like I always thought people thought Valentine's Day was a joke until yesterday.
I still think it's like a joke, to be honest.
No, people are into yesterday changed my mind. I was like, yo, people really are into this.
Okay, so I would go out for Valentine's Day because it's like the spirit of it, you know, when I like was dating somebody, but like I have never in my life, like, you know, I guess I would be on the same page there. Where I was like, I feel like it's a joke. I feel like it's okay, but everyone knows.
They weren't acting like no jokes.
Right? Like,
a lot of people got laid yesterday. They even say that.
You could get laid literally today.
They say that's why there's so many Scorpios. They say that's why there's so many Scorpios.
Well, that's
people. Too bad it has to be Scorpios.
That is possible. That is possible. That is a possible thing. But that's more. But again, that's more the commercial thing. I'm like, but y'all get shit by that. Like,
okay, I'm almost done.
I'm almost drinking that Kool-Aid.
All right. So next, I have one more thing, and then the thing we want to talk about. So I watched Aquaman.
I have not yet.
Oh my God, Aquaman to me is one of the most visually amazing, stunning movies I've ever seen. It was pure visual orgasms, hit after hit after hit after hit after hit.
Really?
I was like, how am I about to watch this 2.5 hour movie? And I was mad that it was over.
Really?
Oh, and I even love the story.
So you were watching Jason Momoa the whole time, huh?
Actually, no. I was actually about to say my favorite thing about the movie. Who's seen it?
Me.
My favorite thing about Aquaman was that it wasn't a story about him; it was about his parents. Oh, that was the part that got me. That like broke my heart. Like that was
amazing.
The very end of it when he goes out to the dock. Oh, that got me. Like I was not prepared for that part of it. Like, and then the last lines of it being about his parents and not about him. That I don't know. That really did something to me because the stories are usually about the main character, but this was really about like this man. He
also
loved
these stories. To be honest, like a lot of these stories, I feel like they don't normally get too heartwarming. Every once in a while they do, but not very often.
This to me wasn't just heartwarming though.
That one was particularly because of just how the parents met and how they got together and like they started a family.
Girl, Julian's doing that thing where he's saying shit, but he ain't even seen the movie.
Okay, maybe not this movie, but I have seen other Marvel movies. Like that's what I'm saying.
This is not even a Marvel movie.
Okay, DC.
It's a DC movie.
My point, DC. I have seen the rest of the universe. Is my point, and they don't normally, they're not very they're not very heart wrenching in plot driving.
Go ahead, Adam. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I really enjoyed Aquaman visually as well, especially the scene when he takes that flare and he gets all of those demons to follow him below the surface. Visually, I really was like, oh my god, I was so scared.
I was like, that is terrifying.
What took me out of the movie?
So many locations,
and
each one of them was like
pretty epic.
A new movie.
Speaking of locations in this movie, the worst for me, and what took me out of it and made me not like the movie, went from like a B+ to like a D.
I think I know what you're about to say.
It's the romantic falling in love scene where she eats the flower and shit like that.
Yeah, that was.
I thought it was completely unnecessary.
I loved it because
I thought it was so poorly. Yes, absolutely.
Most loves. Okay, this is where I don't want to segue, but since we are talking about what we're talking about today.
No, we're not segueing. No, we're not segueing.
No, we're not.
Because I'm still on Aquaman. Wait, I want to respond to what he just said. Hold up. So the reason I think that scene was necessary was because a big part of why she did what she did was because she felt like she's like, I know that you should be the king because you can bridge the two worlds.
Right.
And she had all this contempt for the surface worlds. I didn't really consider that of those two falling in love scene. I considered that her only taste of the surface world that made her realize it was actually salvageable. Because I think her goal wasn't really to save the surface world. I think her goal was to stop a war that would kill her people. But I think after that scene, she was like, it's about the whole planet.
I'm more okay with any montage, and I'm fine with that logic I just didn't like the way it was shot. I thought it was way too cheesy. I thought it didn't fit the film. I thought it was just poorly done. I thought of all the film, like, I was like, I feel like they phoned it. I don't know.
It's funny because I thought you were going to say the scene. I thought you were going to say the part that you didn't like was the fight scene with Mantis.
Oh, sure.
I just didn't like his costume because to me, like, everything else had this kind of, and his costume made me think of Power Rangers.
Yeah, he looked like a villain on Power Rangers.
He did.
Like Rita made his ass grow.
Right, and that's the only part. I was like, everything else in there has this like really cool, like chic, like kind of like, and then there's a Power Rangers villain that shows up, and so like they could have given him like almost like Cyclops kind of eyes or
footage straight from Japan
because they do that so much in these movies anyway, where they take like a villain who's been costumed in the 70s or something like that within the comics, and they sleek it. They take this giant ass saucer head and they make it like Star-Lord's mask. They didn't modify it much, but it's just like a button and it's gone. Yeah. They could have done that with him. They didn't have to put him in the submarine in this head just trying to get through doors and shit.
Absolutely, I agree. So it's funny that both of the things that took us out were like right around the same time.
Yeah.
But I really like the scene where they had to look through the glass, like stuff like that in movies. I love like a good adventure that's a good mystery and like a good clues, follow the leader kind of stuff like that. I thought it was there were little things. I'm really weird about inconsistencies when it comes to magic. Like they had that little thing that they had underwater, right? And that they took to the sand dunes and put in the machine, remember? Mm-hmm. And the reason it didn't work was because it didn't have any water in it. But I was like, bitch, y'all just got out the water. How it don't have water in it? And so I was
Take y'all some to go.
So, right, but then I'm thinking to myself, okay, they need a lot of water. They must need a lot of water. But all she needed was a drop of his sweat. And I was like, that don't make no sense. But I think that was just to be like cool and have like a nice moment. But I'm not saying it was the best written film. I think that visually, though, that was one of the, like, that was Life of Pi epic to me. Like, it had so many amazing visual scenes, and I'm just so mad that it didn't win any awards for that. But it was really good. All right, so the thing I really want to talk about is Joss Whedon and that whole situation with him. So, here we are. Charisma Carpenter came out and spoke out again about what happened to her, but this time she's speaking out.
Thank you again.
This time she's speaking out in solidarity with Ray Fisher,
yes,
who was fired from The Flash after his issues with Joss Whedon, basically saying, I don't want to work with him. And I guess the thing was, Joss Whedon had the wrong one. He had the wrong one. He finally caught the wrong one who was like, I'm gonna cause trouble, and I don't care if I don't work no more. And that's really what it took, was a man being like, my value and my self-worth and what I'm willing to put myself through is worth way more than any sort of career. And so him doing that, and then Charisma coming out and say what she said, now you have a mixture of responses after she said what she said. Some of the people are coming out and saying, yep, I had a fucked up experience too. Some of them are coming out, and which I appreciate. They're not saying that she's wrong, but they're also not saying that, because they're saying, I never experienced that from him. However, I believe her if she's saying that, or I support her if she's saying that, and I'm glad she's saying it. Good for you. Now, up until today, they hadn't heard, all the main cast members had been heard from, except for David Boreanaz, Nicholas Brendan, and Allison Hannigan. After today, the only one of them that hasn't been heard from is Allison Hannigan, which is interesting. What?
I don't think we're going to hear from Allison Hannigan. So from what I've gathered,
at all? Oh, we were going to hear. I think we would have heard already.
Right. So what I've gathered is that like Allison, so kind of like what Charisma has mentioned was that like he picks favorites, and so what I've gathered is that
Allison was one of the favorites.
Allison is a favorite. Like I think one of her sons, Joss is like one of her kids' godfathers. Mm-hmm. So like apparently like, they were really close. Post Buffy.
What about Gina Torres? Has she said anything?
No. I mean, surprisingly, no.
She worked with him a long time. I mean,
she worked with him twice. She definitely worked with him on Firefly and on Angel.
Yeah.
I just, as a black woman, I didn't know if she had spoke out in support of Charisma or.
I haven't heard anything. That's a good question.
I haven't heard, and I don't know. It's
the whole Serenity cast hasn't said anything.
Well, I mean, this is my thing about the Joss Whedon thing. Like, Nicholas Brendan's statement to me was probably the most like 100. Because he was like, look, was Joss an asshole to me? Absolutely. He was absolutely an asshole to me. But he was also really sweet and he was also really kind. So it's hard for me to just make a statement. Like, he's like, I'm glad for Charisma and, you know, I'm fuck with her, I support her. And I know what she's saying is true because I've dealt with that shit too. But I'm also not going to sit here and paint him out as this bad guy because I've experienced both sides of that. So he wasn't shying away from either side of it. He was like, so he wasn't like, oh, since he was kind to me, I'm not going to say nothing. No, he said, I'm going to still say what I got to say. I'm just going to say it from the perspective that I have because this is my experience. And that's what I appreciate about everybody in the situation. They're all just saying, this is what I experienced. And I'm not telling you that this person or that didn't experience that. And I feel like, what else can you do in a situation like that? Because at this point, like, people are saying the silence is deafening. A lot of them not saying anything says a lot. Like, Allison Hannigan not saying anything does say a lot. But then again, I mean, her career was more beneficial than a lot of the other people's. Like, her relationship with Joss.
We got Buffy and the flute. And she was taken off.
After that, yeah, basically. So I'm not gonna say I get why, but there has to be some loyalty there to where she's gonna feel like, oh, I'm not gonna say, or maybe she just don't like Charisma Carpenter. I've always felt like there might have been a little bit of anyway right there.
I don't know. I also want to look. I'm glad that you mentioned that this was brought up again. So I've always kind of like, ever since the first time Charisma Carpenter had mentioned her treatment, particularly on like Angel, and like when she was pregnant in her last season, and before she was written out of the show.
Show.
Yeah, so like I've always been kind of like about him after that, but this wasn't like something she just threw out there randomly just to. This is what I hate about.
She's been telling this story.
Right, she's been telling us. But like one thing I've hated is when people talk about like the experiences that they've had in the workplace, whether it's abuse, harassment, any of that stuff, and folks are like, well, why are you telling us now? And you could have said this then. But like, no, like, you're working, and like, keep in mind, like, they were all extremely young when Buffy started, like, careers.
And like she said, she was the breadwinner in that family.
She was the main breadwinner in her family. She's about to have a baby, and you're still young, and you're still trying to make it into your young acting career. Also, like, when people are dealing with trauma, it's gonna take them a minute to feel comfortable enough to talk about it, and that the fact that she's doing it in support of someone else who went through something with the same person. And, like, I think she's on the investigation for this whole situation with Ray Fisher, who plays Cyborg in the Justice League. So, like, it's not just I'm just still symbolic. Like, no, like, there's a reason why I'm saying this and why I'm a part of the situation now. Like, this is almost like a character witness here.
I wonder what the process is with their union. Because anytime there's a condition on site that you feel uncomfortable with, like if you're on a shoot, you can always call. And I don't know if someone did that. I'm curious if that ever happened on a Joss Whedon set. If someone's like, hey, I feel unsafe. I would.
Well, there was apparently Michelle Trachtenberg came out and said that there was a rule on set where she wasn't allowed to be alone with him.
Ooh.
Right.
And take that for what it's worth. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wait, he made that rule?
No. Like,
he made that rule. Okay.
Somebody made the rule.
So either like the network, somebody higher up made that rule, and so like when you're a teenager surrounded by majority of adults, what would have to have happened for that to be the case?
Yeah.
There's a lot of implications there, but yeah. I know we could talk about this more, which we may talk about this more on Thursday on Talk It Out. But I know we're like definitely getting close. We should move to our main topic. So
I mean,
we're talking about commercial break.
You just
right.
I don't care, but Crispy having to go early and stuff. And
do we have a commercial break?
We do.
You didn't tell them on the commercial break.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we can have a commercial break. Right about now.
Yeah, after you do your geeking out, tell us what you're geeking out about, Adam, and then we go.
Yeah.
I'm geeking about a lot of different stuff. I'm geeking about classic Nintendo games. I collect them, and I collect like complete in-box, like fresh off the shelves Nintendo games right now. That's kind of my shit.
Are you finding them?
eBay. I got it all, and I'm geeking out. And what we're geeking out about today, I always geek out about action movies. So before we go to this commercial break, we're going to, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about action movies and how I geek out about them, and how everyone else here may geek out about them, or may geek out about a subset of action movies. We'll be right back.
Those were commercials for our 24-hour live stream, which will be on March 3rd, 12 midnight to 11:59. We're going to be having a multitude of events. We're going to have a cooking show. We're going to have a Talk It Out episode. We're going to introduce some of our new podcasts. We're also going to have panels, writing streams, a lot of fun stuff. So make sure you join us for that. It'll be a fundraiser for our first ever self-produced film. It's going to be the first episode of a web series called Flirting with Destiny. So we're trying to fund that, and we're also going to be doing the half of our proceeds, whatever we make on the fundraiser, which will last for about a week. We're going to open it for a week, and the other half of those proceeds are going to go to a charity that is geared toward helping LGBTQ veterans. The other ad you saw was for Rem Alternis's RPG missions, Shadowrun missions, which will be every Tuesday at 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. I'm sorry, to 11 o'clock, which will be tomorrow. I will be there. Also, a guest, a host, a recurring panelist on Talk It Out will also be there. Danny Yoon, he'll be the game master. So come hang out with us, check it out, and see it. All right.
Sounds like a fucking blast. Speaking of blast, that's one of the key characteristics of action movies, which is what the hell we're here to talk about.
Professional segues.
He's so good at this.
He prepared.
I love action movies. And to give myself a little plug here, I have a brand new podcast called Bullets, Bourbon, and Karate. We go over classic action movies from the 80s on up, and we pair that with a drink of our choice, whether we think it's what the character would drink, whether it's what the movie inspires us. We go all over it, and we go through a nostalgic sort of backdrop. We set the scene of when you would have seen that movie. If it was 92, we tell you everything that was going on in 92, so you can get into the context of what it was like to watch that movie then. Anyway, Bullets, Bourbon, and Karate. We love action movies, and I geek out about them all the time. An action movie is a film genre in which the protagonist or protagonists are thrust into a series of events that typically include violence, extended fighting, physical feats, rescue, and frantic chases. So, that's all an action movie is. So there's subsets. There's action thrillers, action romance. Think about like Romancing the Stone, if you ever seen that movie. I know my age is vast compared to some.
I don't think there's much action in that, though.
But, so, I'll start it off. Mine's one of my favorite action movies of all time that I geek out about. I have 3 Laserdisc copies of the movie and its sequels. Laserdisc sealed copies.
Wait, you said a movie has 8 sequels?
3. There's 3 sequels. Okay. Yeah, my bad. I didn't mean to say 8. There's 3.
I was gonna try to guess, but no.
Love Smoking Ace's Destiny. Absolutely. This one is 3 ninjas. Okay.
Rocky Loves Emily?
Yes. Action, family movie, a little bit of rom-com in there. So it's got it all. I I used to watch this movie over and over to where I could probably still right now, if I wanted to, which I might, quote the entire movie.
Rocky loves
Emily, right?
Rocky loves.
Everyone loves that. So that's an action movie that some people might not consider an action movie that I loved as a kid. I used to go out, I'd watch it, I'd go out and try to break all my mother's clay pots because they did it in the movie. And she's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm trying to practice my karate, Mom. I need to do this. She's like, "Why?" And I'm like,
"Because they do it to be my things."
Yeah, I wanted to be one of my things. So I'll start right there. That's sort of where we're coming from. So let's go around. Rakia, you got a favorite action movie, or one you like to watch, or one you can harken back to with some nostalgia?
Let's see. So I'm not the biggest action fan, but what is it? It's a Patrick Swayze.
Roadhouse.
We love action
Roadhouse. Yes. I do love the Roadhouse.
Yes. How did you know it that quick?
Because
Patrick Swayze.
It is the iconic action movie. They have the best lines. One of my favorite lines is as this villain is about to choke out Patrick Swayze, he goes, "I used to fuck guys like you in prison." And
yes. Listen, that's the thing about an action movie, though. A thing about action movie that is important is that they have horrible lines. Horrible lines.
Oh my
God. Somehow when they're delivered, they're so appropriate and they make the viewer go, yeah! Even though they're
that guy.
Horrible lines.
I guess to say, like, because if I do like an action movie, like that would be all of like my superhero movies that I'm into. So like, but like just a straight up like a regular guy coming in and just kicking somebody's ass for like the Geekin movie.
I'm always into the unassuming hero. Taken. We think about Liam Neeson's soccer dad ass going through taking people out.
I'm gonna find you.
Yeah. And even Patrick Swayze, he's ripped, he's gorgeous, his hair is feathered, but he's not like, you wouldn't look at him and be like, man, that man would take some people out. But that's his whole thing, is he's unassuming. Everyone thinks he's bigger.
He's Vita Bohème. He's like the softest woman ever.
He's what?
Vita Bohème.
What is that?
Vita?
Tu Wong Fu.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
No,
that wasn't Patrick Swayze.
It was Patrick Swayze. Wesley Snipes.
Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes, and John
Leguizamo. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Y'all said Patrick Swayze. I'm thinking about Kevin Bacon. I'm sorry.
No.
Yes, Kevin Bacon.
Yes, that was Patrick Swayze.
Less Footloose, more Dirty Dancing.
Right. Now Kevin Bacon, that is a man.
I'd say both of them. I actually would. Okay.
Patrick Swayze doesn't do it for me. He doesn't do it for me. Patrick Swayze doesn't do it for me. No, he doesn't do it for me. No.
Really? Not even a Dirty Dancing when he kicked.
Old school.
Nobody puts baby.
He always looks like he's pushing out a fart.
Oh.
Actually,
no, guys. Actually, you know what?
His face always looks like he's pushing out.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Early or like now?
Now that is an action fucking star.
Early,
Jean-Claude Van Damme is
beautiful.
Let's talk about Jean-Claude.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
There's a great clip on YouTube that you can find when he's on this like European game show in like the 90s, and this girl's dancing on him, and the camera pulls away, and his fucking pleated acid wash jeans, you can see a huge boner.
Yeah.
And he's all like,
let me turn it. Well, he's also,
all I know is Jean-Claude Van Damme is known for busting it up. Okay?
That's what I'm saying. He's also known
do a
for these
split
things.
in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Spread it wide and spread it low. Hey. But no, it's not even that. There's this movie. Was it Kickboxer? What's the movie in the Kumite?
Bloodsport.
That is a fucking movie right there, bro.
Don't get me started.
Bloodsport is like, to me, that's how I was introduced. When I think of Jean-Claude Van Damme, Bloodsport.
A lot of people
Bloodsport. Like, that movie was everything. Like, him, he gets the sand tossed in his face, and he's just, and he still kicked that guy's ass. Oh, my God. Bloodsport was everything for me. And I actually saw the sequel to it, too. Now, the guy who played, like, the lead in the new Bloodsport, he was fine as a motherfucker, too. But, But I also really like, what's his name? I have a lot of respect for David Bautista ever since he played in Guardians of the Galaxy because I think that character is so. I like the comic timing that you would need to pull off those jokes consistently, like all the time. Like that's special, especially the one who like when he said nothing goes over my head, my reflexes are too fast.
Yeah.
As an actor, I'm like, I would have never delivered that line like that. But that's the only way that line deserves to be delivered. Period. Like
he's fantastic. I think other than like John Cena, he's the next big wrestler to that's gonna crush. I mean, he's already box office. I mean, he's huge box office.
He's got a bigger box office, in my opinion. He's got bigger box office receipts than John Cena. At this
he
point.
Absolutely does.
Yeah. I just think John Cena's a wider range of roles.
Mm-hmm. And he's in Dune. He's in these huge blockbusters.
Ooh, the new Dune.
Yeah, he's in the new Dune.
I can't wait for that one.
That's gonna be fantastic. That's an action sci-fi.
Yes, I cannot wait for that one.
Now that's where most of my action stuff comes from. It's action sci-fi.
Like
I'm actually a big action buff. I've seen a lot of.
Like you said, Serenity.
Yes, Serenity.
Oh, look at that face, y'all. Y'all see that one?
That's a good one. That's a good freezing face. That's a good freezing face. He was like,
you keep getting frozen on these horrible faces. He's frozen again. Look, that
no,
was better.
No, but those are good ones. The last one was
that
good.
last one was better, but we pointed it out. This one's good. Now he's posing for him. No. Oh man.
Julian, you said you've seen a lot of action movies. Like what?
Okay, so I have actually seen a lot of action movies in my time. But I don't remember all of them. Okay, so here's the thing: action movies have like lost their luster as I've gotten a little bit older. I think because I'm looking a little bit more for plot, and action movies don't usually have too much of that, or at least definitely not.
I thought he said pot.
I did too.
No.
Actually, you're right though. There's not a lot of plot in action movies.
I mean, sometimes, but anyway, the point is it's they're not really like big on plot usually. At least definitely not the ones of back in the day. They certainly I mean, had 80s plot.
and 90s. Yeah.
I mean, they had plot, but I don't know.
Elaborate on that. What do you mean?
I mean, they had plot, but like,
tell me the type of movie that you're into because of plot.
Movie that I'm into because of plot. There's a lot. I'm sorry, I can't
talk. Tell me, give me a movie.
I'm sorry. Okay. A plot-driven movie. A plot-driven movie would be what was that? That French one. The French. They're mostly thrillers and things. Okay, but most action movies, I'm saying, they don't come with plot. I'm asking you. I'm not asking for. I'm telling you. I'm asking you to tell me a movie that you like because of the plot. For the plot, okay. I was saying that I can't remember the name of it though, but we talked about it. We talked about it in the Flasher Mysteries. But it happens to be a very well. It has to be.
No, I'm just saying. I'm trying to understand because he says he doesn't like these movies because they don't have plots, and so I feel like action movies have great plots.
I don't think that they don't have plot. Their plot isn't. You know, it's mostly all action though. The plot,
it's not fleshed out.
You know, it's not fleshed out. Exactly.
I will say The Matrix is an action movie with a lot of plot.
There are a few more nowadays.
Look, I can name like 50 action movies with a great plot. Red, The
Red
Born
is actually
Identity,
one of them. That's one I like.
John Wick,
John Wick, I wouldn't say is really plot.
How?
But I like that you said John Wick.
All the John Wick movies, there's definitely other shit going on. There's definitely a plot.
It's huge. But I think one of my favorite types of action movies. We were talking about the everyman, right? Or I like the struggle of the hero to be an everyman, and I mean everyman in any gender, but just like I don't want this life, but it keeps calling me back.
Oh, so John Wick,
and like John Wick. Mm-hmm. This very simple plot device of the dog, right? But the dog represents everything to his wife, his past life, the life they took from him, and so he's going to go on this rampage and kill everybody. So it's not done. It's not always done as artfully as it is in John Wick, in my opinion. But like Taken, here's this guy. I don't want this life. It's not who I am anymore. They take his daughter. He's like, oh shit. And typically that plot will evolve into something a bit more meaty than just like, oh, it's just about him killing his dog. But I'm fine. The action movie genre, it's already got my boat when I go in to see the movie. I'm gonna be happy. They're gonna show me some explosions. I'm gonna get past. I don't go for the plot always. It's always a bonus when it happens, though.
See, I like the plot. The reason I'm on his case is because I really love a action movie with a good plot. Like,
oh yeah,
Jack fucking Reacher.
Oh,
that is
okay.
Oh shit! I'm sorry, my earphones came out. Jack Reacher, like that to me is so like you're trying to figure out what's going on. Like who killed these people and did it in this, and like why it wasn't this guy. So like we had to figure out who it is because this one guy who, out of everybody he would have asked for, would not have asked for Jack Reacher, asked for Jack Reacher. And says, I want him to prove that I didn't kill this guy. And Jack Reacher already wants this man in jail. So then Jack Reacher's like, why would he ask me to do it? You know what I'm saying? Then he goes through all these steps, and then you find out all these little, man, that's what I'm saying. Like, for me, I feel like action films have to have good plots nowadays because of the fact that in the 80s and 90s, they were so, like, just violence-driven. Now there has to be some sort of thing. I'm saying now they like. So you're saying they don't have plot anymore?
Well,
and I'm like they have better plots now.
I say that more so now versus before. They just had lost their luster because in that time period in between, I haven't the now action movies are already out of my radar is my point. But a lot of the older action
I'm gonna just give you this face and leave it alone.
Okay, say whatever you want to say is all I'm saying. A lot of 90s, 2000s action movies I've seen. Generally, most of them.
And aren't they fantastic?
They were fantastic at the time. Now I'm like, okay, I want to see a little bit more, but I loved them. I
my god!
Them.
So you don't like Lord of the Rings?
Like, Lord of the Rings. I like Lord of the Rings. I'm saying
that's an action movie.
90s, 2000s action movies.
What do you consider 2000s?
Early 2000s, anywhere after like 2010,
Lord of the Rings was not early 2000s.
In the last 10 years, in the last decade.
Lord of the Rings was like late 2000s.
That was early 2000s. No. I was still in elementary school.
Yeah. 2002, maybe 2003.
That was like literally Harry
It was
Potter
2001. Oh my god!
Right.
I stand corrected.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
That was so like when the Harry Potter films were first coming out.
Chris,
I stand corrected.
Hit us with some of your action movies.
Okay. So like I didn't have the normal boy childhood growing up. Sure. I don't know. I just missed all of the action movies that boys were supposed to watch. So I've still to this day never seen an Indiana Jones. Sure. Never seen.
Me either.
The only James Bond that I've ever seen was Skyfall, and I couldn't even tell you what it was about because I think I watched it once, and I don't have the context for James Bond, so it wasn't like. It didn't speak to me. So, Star Wars was so over my head. Like when I was a kid, I would so much have rather watched anything with a witch or a fairy or anything like that. So my action love didn't come until a little bit later. But I think the first thing that I ever saw as a kid, and I can't even believe my parents let me watch it. I probably edited on TV, but that I actually liked as an action movie was Terminator.
Yes!
Sci-fi action.
I don't remember whether it was the first or the second one that I saw first.
The second one.
I wound up seeing both of them.
It probably was.
I think
the
it was
second
the second one.
Because you're around my age, so that's the one.
I saw the second one in theaters with my mother's boyfriend.
Ooh, wow!
Man. I used to have nightmares about that dude.
Oh yeah.
T-1000.
Actually, yeah.
T2 is terrifying.
With eyes.
Yeah.
Is it 2 or 1?
T2.
T-2000? You mean the movie?
The movie T2. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got this big argument with somebody because I thought that he was T-2000, right?
Oh.
And somebody was like, "No, he's T-1000," and I made a bet and I lost.
Well, when I saw it as a kid, I didn't know there was a sequel. It was a sequel. I just thought it was called T2 because as a kid, I thought that was the name of the robot. I didn't know because that was an R-rated movie that I couldn't see as a kid. But I did get to see this one with my mother's boyfriend at the time. It was terrifying when she goes to that nuclear blast. Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
Woo!
There's a lot of ones.
Oh.
There's a lot of ones.
Ooh.
There's a lot of. Honestly, as an adult,
Dredd.
realizing what that movie was really talking about, it's even scarier now to me. Because as a kid, it's just robots and explosions and creepy man with hands that turn into metal, right? But now, as an adult, you're like, it's motherfucking scientists somewhere trying to do some dumb shit. And you know it. You cannot tell me differently. Well, there's some scientists, which I was talking. Oh, I saw Venom.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen that one yet.
And listen, the villain in Venom, not the symbiote, the guy who the symbiote takes over, Carlton Drake or whatever. I hate guys like him, and I hate him like because it's like, oh, you feel like your little mission to save the planet is better than everybody, and you were just called and chosen to kill all these people and all this stuff in the pursuit of science. And I'm just like, that's why your ass, that's what happened to your ass, happened to your ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, because to me, I just feel like to me, that's dirty what he was doing. And it's some scientist somewhere doing some shit that's going to cause the zombie apocalypse or turn robots against us. I swear it.
The Matrix.
Now,
well, that's not scientists. Scientists.
We all get to be action heroes.
Yeah, technically.
We would all get to be. Oh! If this was an action movie, one with heavy casualties, can we do a list of who would go first and who would live to the end?
What?
Universal Soldier?
This sounds like a popularity contest.
Classic.
Universal Soldier, I loved. It was the only movie I, as a kid past 5, that I ever saw in theaters with my mother.
Universal Soldier.
Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Dolph Lundgren.
Yes.
They're part of a super soldier program. They get made. They're all dead soldiers that they reincarnate as these weapons of mass destruction.
That's a plot, Julian.
It's also the less fleshed out plot of Final Fantasy VII, but whatever.
Oh my god!
I mean, same thing. Whatever, same thing.
It's pretty fleshed out. There's a lot of flesh in this movie.
Oh, there is.
But Dolph Lundgren's character goes off. He's a Vietnam veteran. He starts having this PTSD, and it breaks his wiring, and he goes haywire and starts. He gets a necklace of ears. That's another one with a great line where, spoiler alert, Jean-Claude Van Damme kicks Dolph Lundgren into a wood chipper, and he's like, oh, and he's barely making it. He's coming out, and the female lead's like, are you okay? Where is he? Where is he? And he goes, around.
He's everywhere.
So, if this is a movie that I feel like is a classic action movie, but this is the type of classic action movie plot that always stresses me out, because it's like, how can you stretch this thing into an hour's worth of content? And I'm going to use a plot as an example, but there's multiple movies that fall under this umbrella of like, how are you going to make that interesting for an hour? I.e., Speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was totally interesting for the entirety of the movie. But I'm like, man, to write something like that to where it's like, okay, we got to write this action movie where
it's always that
we got to stay on the bus for about 3/4 of the movie.
Yeah.
It was better than Snakes on a Plane.
Oh yeah,
I haven't seen Snakes on a Plane.
Well, Snakes on a Plane was alright. I mean, for the comedic value. For comedic value, it was alright.
Did he really say motherfucking snakes on a motherfucking plane?
Yeah, he did. That is quote verbatim.
There's a story behind this movie where they sent him the script, and what's Sam Jackson care? He's done. In 1996, he had done 39 movies or something like that. So,
that year?
No, just total.
Oh, okay. I was like,
up to that point.
Okay,
it's like 3 or 4 or 5 a year sometimes.
Right.
So, I mean, I just think his career is whatever. He wants to have fun. So this script comes along, and its working title is Snakes on a Plane.
Oh, yeah.
So they were gonna. That was just like, this is the premise, and the premise is the title, but we're gonna change it. He goes, "I'll do it as long as you don't change the title." He loved it.
Snakes on a Plane.
He loved it.
That's interesting, but it's also, there's other plots like this where I don't like the killer in a small space with a family or with 1 or 2 people plots. Why I don't like those is because it's always the same thing. It's like, how is this going to be interesting to me for like Us? Here's the thing about Us. I saw Us. Now I'm watching it, and I was right. I was like, nobody in the family is going to get killed because, like, first of all, I didn't think they were going to kill these black characters in this. I don't know why I had this thing where they won't kill. I feel like black people when they do scary movies won't kill black people. Right? I feel.
We're gonna make it this damn movie.
I get why. And as a black person watching it, I'm like, well, they're not gonna die. So okay, who's gonna die? And then they found a way to have casualties, but they're not gonna have a lot of casualties because it's only these movies like that. There's also this movie called Vacancy, really good movie, but it's in one of those premises where it's like there's two people and these killers. So it's just like, well, who's gonna die? And so of course somebody dies, but it's like, damn, I just spent an hour and a half waiting for this one dude to get killed.
Look, I think about Us, and I'm like, I'm still like, ooh.
Does that really? It didn't creep me out.
It creeped me out. Like
the part that creeped me out was the end. Like the end did creep me out. I was just like, that's creepy.
That is very creepy.
That's creepy.
Yes, the hands across America. Yes, that's very creepy.
No, the creepy. I'm talking about the creepy part being that the
yes.
I kept thinking to myself, why can she talk? And then you realize, oh, that's why she can talk.
Right.
It's so creepy. But but anyway, I don't like those movies are hard, I think, to make work, but when they work like Speed, they are classics.
They're great. Classics. I think you could say that Die Hard is similar. I mean, it's a little different, but you can't leave the building. You have to use all. I mean, you get to go from different locations, but you are in one location. You can't go all over. We can talk about Die Hard right now. Do you guys consider it a Christmas movie?
We talked about Die Hard during.
We talked about it. If we consider Die Hard a Christmas movie, then so is Batman Returns.
Right.
So,
I think Batman Returns is definitely a Christmas movie.
No, Batman Returns is not.
No.
It has. Look, in order to be a Christmas movie, you have to be about Christmas themes.
That's what I would assume. Like it's
not
family,
Christmas time.
Family being not about family.
I'm going back to Die Hard. Family being together.
Okay.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Die Hard. That's the action movie that I haven't seen.
I always find it so.
None of the Die Hards.
I kind of saw the latest one. Was it Shia LaBeouf, his son?
Yeah,
or something
I
like
liked that one.
I saw bits and pieces of that one, but I haven't seen the whole thing.
I think Shia LaBeouf was his daughter's boyfriend or something like that.
Oh,
he was like supposed to be super smart. That one I liked only because it was the beginning of like making the nerd like the cool character. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, this is nice, especially in action movies, which wasn't a thing. You know what I mean?
But see, what I hate about that trope
and things like that, and it was like, okay.
What I hate about the nerd trope is like the nerd always has to become a badass. Like it's 2021. It's plenty of nerds out here.
You could already be the badass.
Like
exactly.
Like
sorry,
I'm scared of nerds nowadays.
Was it Justin Long?
Justin Long, it was.
It was Justin Long.
Yeah.
Not Shia LaBeouf. It was Justin Long.
He was hot shit for a second. Justin Long?
Yeah.
What do you think happens to these dudes that like are hot? Justin Long was in Jeepers Creepers, wasn't he?
He was in Jeepers Creepers. He was in this.
I was thinking about Jeepers Creepers today because somebody put up a picture of it, and it just hit me. They put up a picture of the last scene where the eyes are missing, and I realized that you could see through his skull. So I'm like, why did he need to drill into the back of his head to get his eyes?
I think that was just a plot thing to make.
I think
they wanted the shot where the guy comes up, and they wanted the shot. But I'm thinking to myself, bro, he ate the guy's tongue. He didn't eat his whole face. He just ate the tongue because that's what he needed.
He would wear the skin otherwise.
No. He ate what he needed from that person. So the guy whose tongue he ate, he just ate his tongue. He didn't eat anything else. But as far as the guy's eyes, he apparently ate his eyes, a little bit of his brain, a little bit of that skeletals.
I think the first 20, 25 minutes of Jeepers Creepers is some of the best horror movie stuff you see. I love it.
Yeah.
I can't tell you this, Adam. This movie is so confusing for me as an individual. Why? Because I feel like the first half of that movie is the scariest movie that ever exists.
So good.
And then when you find out he's not a human,
when he starts doing this shit on the road, his wing pops out. You lost me.
Yes. Like it was weird because when he was in it, and actually the scene right before that happens is scary too. Like him in the cornfields and shit. I'm like, bro, I'm so scared of this man whoever he is, but when you find out he's like a demon, it's just like, well, of course.
I saw
everything makes sense. It's like that's why he don't give a fuck about. That's why he killing all the people, because y'all can't kill his ass.
I saw this movie in theaters, and I remember just white knuckling it the whole time. Then all of a sudden, his wing pops off, and I'm like, shit.
Oh, it's a monster movie.
I was hoping he was just some weird creep dude coming after kids.
Listen, I've always said that, like, not saying that demons in real life aren't scary. Not saying that ghosts, if I ever encounter a demon,
don't welcome that shit to you, Durier.
I'm just saying that. But to me, like, in movies, there's something that's so scary about it just being a fucking crazy motherfucker. Because we see that shit all the time. We see it on the news all the time. So for me, I like those type of movies where it's just like somebody's, like, I think that's why Wrong Turn kind of got to me. The idea of
Eliza
Dushku?
Wrong Turn.
Well, it's just like the idea of these people who but the killers, to me, it's like, you know, these ideas of these people who are so like in the middle of the woods, like kind of secluded, and they have these defects that make and they're not socially adept, so they're kind of like tweaked a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, that's terrifying.
They're evolved inbreds, and it is crazy.
And you can't reason with that. You can't beg your way out of that, because they don't even understand what begging is. They're just like,
like their laugh. Oh my god! It was
yes. Yes.
Durier, you know, in Jeepers Creepers, when they cut open that bag and there's that guy there, and he's like, and he has no lines. He just sort of like,
yes.
That guy originally had lines in the script, but the budget didn't allow them to pay a Screen Actors Guild member to the level of a speaking part, so they cut all his fucking lines,
which was even better.
Yeah, that's cold-blooded. You get cast and you're like,
go into that basement and saw the church with I was like, oh fuck no, this motherfucker's crazy, crazy. But it's crazy though, because I still watch the Jeepers Creepers. I've even watched the second and third one, and the third one's on Netflix if you haven't seen it, and it definitely hints at the fourth one.
Now,
okay.
As we approach 2 hours here, there's one other question I wanted to have about action movies as we sort of push away from the horror. Or action horror is great too. Tremors, if you remember that movie.
Tremors! Look, Adam's doing it tonight.
We covered Tremors on our podcast. It's fantastic. Kevin Bacon, just being Kevin Bacon, just crushing it.
Reba McEntire.
Reba McEntire.
And Reba McEntire.
Yes,
she is.
Yes.
It was her first movie. She's great at it.
She's actually a really good actor.
Reba's great in everything she does.
Yes.
Reba's a good actor. I really like her TV show.
That bitch comes out and I'm like, yeah.
You got Yippee-Ki-Yay, motherfucker. You got I used to fuck guys like you in prison. You can go back go back in your Rolodex of your mind, whether it's T2 or whether it's a sci-fi action, fantasy action. What's a line that you always? That's always stuck with you.
That's a good one.
Oh, that's hard. I hate questions like this because I'm not gonna tell you my favorite because I probably won't think of it till like 5 days from now. I can tell you the one that
don't allow me to take the pressure off you all.
Yes.
One you like a lot.
Okay. Or one that comes to mind in this moment of pressure.
Sure.
Because that's always what's going to be, the one that pops into my head, because that's the only one I can think of now.
Oh
sure. And it can be random. Like, one of my favorite lines is the Snyder character from Three Ninjas, the villain. He's trying to get these guys motivated to go get these kids, and he's like, but they keep escaping, and he's like, they're just kids! I want them found now! And every time he's being hanging up, he hangs up with like a different threat. And this time he's like, or I'll tear out your liver.
Just random.
It always stuck with me as a kid.
I guess I have two that I can think of. One's from a horror movie. The other one's not really my favorite line. It's a line that I hate and I just forgot it. So somebody else go. I'll try to remember it.
Okay. Actually.
Oh no, I remember it. So one's from a horror movie, and the other one's from an action film that's like a science fiction one. Okay. But the other one I really hate, but I love it.
Yeah.
Because it's become this character's like quintessential. The line we all joke about. It's when Storm in X-Men goes, "Do you know what happens to a toad when he gets struck by lightning?" And then as watching that movie, I'm sitting here like, ooh, what does happen to
expecting something amazing.
And she goes, the same thing that happens to everyone else. I'm like, well, duh, bitch. Like the setup, I was so ready, but no.
It's hard to remember lines like that, but there are those lines, and you're like, here we go. There's a great movie called Showdown in Little Tokyo, which is just insane. It's about the Yakuza coming into LA, and there's cocaine, there's beheadings, there's meth. But there's an epic fight scene just happens, and they're walking away, and the whole movie.
Cocaine and meth? I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Everything I needed in my life.
I thought you just knew my nicknames. But they've just had the big boss fight, and they're walking away, and everyone's just like, thank you so much, you saved our city, and the whole movie's just banter, and you're like, oh, great, here we go. And they're like, man, what are we going to say happened here? And you're like, oh, shit, here we go, the final line of the movie. And he goes, we'll just say it's community relations. And you're like,
I
guess. You had the whole movie, and that's what you come up with?
Like, what?
The other line I was gonna say is in Scream, in the very first scene where she's like gonna finally hang up on him, and she says, "You listen to me, you little bitch. You hang up on me, and I'll gut you like a bitch." You understand? That moment was so earth shattering for not just her, anybody watching that movie. Yeah. Especially if it was like the first time. That moment was literally like, oh, fuck.
It was. Right. Because the whole setup is like, oh, it's going to be the teeny like, oh, this is the game. But no, It's like, nah, this is real shit.
Fifth grade
switching his voice.
Shitting my pants.
Yeah.
And then all she could do is cry. It's like, yeah, because really, like, don't hang up, bitch. Yeah. Those are my two lines.
That's great. I'll throw another one in while you guys are thinking. Oh, Chris, go.
I got one. It's actually from one of my favorite action movies of all time, and it's performed by Lucy Liu from...
Yes!
When she says, the price you pay for bringing up either my Chinese or American heritage as a negative is I collect your fucking head.
Yeah, I love that. That was a good line.
Whenever you can get a line, and sometimes it doesn't even have to be clever. Like,
honestly, I was going to say that whole movie, to be honest.
It's just...
That whole monologue she gave. I'm sorry, Adam, but that whole monologue she gave leading up to that line was epic.
I was just going to say, the types of lines that are delivered, like, sometimes they're not even clever. Sometimes they're just like, I'll hang up on me and I'll gut you. Like, it's just like the most direct and succinct and what is set up before, and the actor delivering it, like that one Lucy Liu gives. It's like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. As she's covered in his blood, right? That's after she decapitates him,
I don't think she's covered in it.
Oh yeah, she's holding his head, and then she like slings the blood from the blade on the table.
It.
Like,
yeah.
She's so
it's
bad.
in somebody's face. Somebody like flinches because he gets it on his face. And that whole movie is fucking amazing. Actually, every line from that movie you could probably use.
I prefer Volume 1 to Volume 2. Side note.
I think Volume 1's more action. Volume 2's more story, but they're both.
You mean Volume 1's better? That's what I heard.
Oh.
Okay.
Those are different words.
They very much were.
There's another one I'll throw out from Showdown in Little Tokyo again. There's this Dolph Lundgren's in it, right? And Brandon Lee's first American movie is Dolph Lundgren has just finished having sex with Tia Carrera, and he's about to get into a fight. And it's like he comes out of the room, and Brandon Lee's like, Where is she? And he's like, she's in my room. And he goes, oh, I figured that was going to happen. He goes, well, she was frightened. And he goes, yeah, I saw you strip down to get in that hot tub. I'll be frightened too. And then he goes, and then right before they go out, he goes, Brandon Lee looks at him. He's got his gun. And he's like, listen, if we don't make it, I just want you to know, you have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
On a man.
It's the weirdest fucking line. And then in that movie, this movie is just full of them. There's a callback line where she's in like the safe house, and she's all scared, and he's like, listen, if you see anybody coming, point the gun at him and shoot. And she goes, what if it's you? And he goes, you won't hear me coming. And then they have sex, And she's laughing, and he's like, "What's so funny?" And she goes, "That time I heard you coming."
I'm right, bitch. That's right.
No, that's such for work.
Oh man, that's a great movie.
I like the good. Now that you said that, I'm gonna watch action films and I'm gonna be like, these lines are amazing.
That's the thing. The lines from action films are kind of cheesy. I love them though. They're great. They're cheesy in a good way.
Yes, I think that's what we should take away from this episode is, give yourself an hour and a half of being loose on the plot and appreciate the action, the explosions, the cheesy fucking big dick lines or whatever you got.
That was all directed at you, Justin. Mister, they don't have plots.
Julian.
I'm sorry, Julian. Ooh, look.
That's not the first time. We've
fair.
done this a few times.
Have I been calling you Justin all night?
No, but you've done it before.
Okay, but that don't.
The first episode.
This isn't the first episode where I'm Justin.
No, I've known Julian for over a decade at this point.
I know, it's been a while.
I've known Julian since I was like 19.
I'm
like 49.
Since we were 19.
Okay, we'll say that, Julian.
Yeah.
We'll say we're 19.
Well, I mean, I feel like, don't we have the same birthday?
No, I'm younger than you.
Oh, by
Man.
a day.
All this talk about we, and it brings me to the fact that we've come to the end of this episode.
This bitch.
All right, so Adam, thank you for hosting tonight. So where can we find you?
I'm not really active on social media until now with this podcast, and so most of the shit I post is about action movies anyway. So now I just do it through a podcast. We're at BB Karate Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. So find us there.
And the thing about Adam is he's incredibly hilarious.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to do my best to get him to be more active on social media.
Can I
There
just
needs
say
to be more comedy of Adam's available to you all. I'm sorry, just Julian.
Okay. On the same note, I'd like to give a little bit of praise because you're part of the Second City Network because that's pretty solid.
I was Second City main stage before the.
That's really solid. Though.
They don't like all my friends who've been on Second City. They're so modest.
I know. I'm like, but Second
they're
City
so
is
modest.
really
Right. You see how he said it? I was Second City. I was a part of Second City. They're so modest.
But they have such good content. They make like a lot.
They're great. They're great. They used to be really weird. Like I don't know, weird. They try to protect their brand, but like. When I wasn't on their stages or anything like that, and I was working like on their touring company or like I did their ship contracts or whatever, they were like, do not put that you are part of Second City ever on your resume. Put that they gave you specific ways in which you were allowed to list it because apparently people were just like taking a class at Second City being like, oh, I did this show at Second City, and everyone's like, oh, this person, and then this person, yeah. So I don't know. Even like today, like I'm a main stage cast member, so like I can put that, but even like I'm still like, like I grew up.
I've been there.
Yeah,
I say that as in that they do a pretty good job of like vetting who their comedians are and things like that.
I think so.
They have a really strong.
I think they have really good taste.
Characters. They have good taste. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, Adam's going to be on SNL like next week. So
I mean, whatever.
I'm hosting, right?
Yes.
It was Regina King and then Chris and then me and Ricky gonna take a shot. We got ours booked.
Everyone here deserves to be on SNL more than I want to be on SNL. That's not a shot at SNL. I just don't think.
No, it was a shot at
SNL.
I just don't think it's a job for me. I just don't think it's a job for me. I don't think I'm rightfully equipped to handle that job and do it as well as the people they have doing it. That's all.
I have comment, but you know what? See, this is where like being like this Bonelli media person. And trying to navigate like the Duryea things I can say and do versus like the founder and artistic director of Bonelli Media things I can say, because that was the one where Duryea almost cost the founder and director some issues because I was going to say something. But I'm gonna say this: I know a lot of people who, in my opinion, are funnier than everybody on TV. In my opinion,
sure.
Like, and there's a handful of y'all, and you know, you probably know who I'm thinking of. Oh, yeah. A few of them have been at Second City. One of them hasn't, but there's just some really funny people. I don't feel like in today's society you have to be funny. I'm sorry, you have to be on SNL to be at the pinnacle of your comedy anymore because of social media, because of other things. Like And that's what I love. That's actually one of my favorite things about social media in general. Is it presents opportunities. If you have the talent and you have the hustle, there's an audience for you.
Yeah, I think I know some people who write for SNL and who are on the show right now, and I think they're about the funniest people I know, and it's all about with the opportunities you get when you get them. I mean, it's not like I always think about, like, I think it was Denzel Washington was on Inside the Actor Studio, and he was talking about coming up in the theater scene, and everyone kept getting these movie parts except Sam Jackson, and everyone already thought Sam Jackson was the best actor in the scene, and everyone was like, "What about this guy? What about this guy? When's he getting there?" It's like it's when you get there and your own journey. But I think I agree. I know some of the same people you're talking about. I think they're
hilarious.
The top, the best of the best. And
dumb, stupid, funny.
Yeah. But anyway.
Well, we don't know who's hosting the next episode. I know who it's going to be, but I don't want to put them on blast on the air. So we will let you know what that next episode is going to be. It's going to be in 2 weeks on Monday at 8 as usual. Remember, if you want to listen to these episodes live, or if this is your first time and you want to check out some of our older episodes, head on over to YouTube and make sure. Let me get my little graphics because I was about to pull it up myself. Like, head on over to YouTube and click the like button. Subscribe to our channel to get notifications. Also, click that bell so that you're notified when we put new videos up. We have a lot of amazing events coming up this week. The topic on Talk It Out is workplace romances. Ooh. Yeah, so we're going to talk about that. So make sure you come and hang out with us for that. There's that 24-hour stream on March 3rd. There's a lot of other initiatives, but we're going to hold off on those until we're ready to talk about more. Do you all have any announcements that y'all want to make?
My podcast drops every Wednesday.
Where?
Anywhere you listen to Spotify, iTunes, Spreaker, SoundCloud, awesome. All of them. Yeah.
Great.
And that's Bullets, Bourbon, and Karate.
Bullets, Bourbon, and Karate.
Also, thank you for our 200 likes and follows on Facebook, y'all. So make sure you guys share our Geekin' Out Facebook page so you guys keep up with what's going on with us.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's it.
All right, everyone. Well, that's the show for tonight. I want y'all to thank you so much for being here, and I can't wait to see y'all again in 2 weeks.